happened at a Halloween party in 2018. Tyler and his friends were celebrating at their apartment complex. They decorated the whole place with fake cobwebs, string lights, and even a fog machine that made the air thick and humid. Tyler noticed a girl sitting alone on the couch wearing a porcelain doll mask. She hadn't said a word all night. He assumed she was someone's guest. Every time he looked her way, she seemed to be watching him. Not dancing, not drinking, just watching. Around 1 a.m., the party started dying down. People left. The lights dimmed, and the music stopped. When Tyler went to his room, he found the doll mask girl sitting on his bed. He laughed nervously and told her she must have wandered into the wrong apartment, but she just tilted her head. Her breathing was shallow, almost like she was trying not to be heard. Tyler stepped closer, trying to see her eyes behind the mask, but before he could say anything, she stood and walked past him. She didn't say a word, just brushed his shoulder and left through the door. The next morning, he told his roommate about it. His roommate gave him a confused look and said, "Dude, no one in a doll mask was at that party." Tyler was beginning to question himself until he noticed something unfamiliar next to his bed. There was a Polaroid on his nightstand he hadn't noticed before. It showed him sleeping on his bed, and standing in the corner of the room was the girl in the doll mask. In 2012, a woman named Claire was driving home from her sister's Halloween party just after midnight. The desert road outside Phoenix was empty. She noticed a pair of headlights behind her, matching every turn. At first, she thought it was a neighbor from the same party, but when she sped up, the car stayed glued to her bumper. She turned onto a quiet farm road, hoping to lose them, and the headlights disappeared. Relieved, she looked in the rearview mirror and saw a man's face in her back seat. She slammed the brakes and jumped out, screaming. The car door opened, and a man stumbled out, wearing a dirty mechanic's uniform. A passing pickup stopped, and the stranger bolted into the desert. Police found him 2 days later in an abandoned shed. He admitted he'd hidden in Claire's car at the party when she left her doors unlocked. He told officers he'd been following women home for weeks, waiting for the right time. That was the last time Claire got into her car, without checking her back seat first. Rachel worked part-time at a pumpkin patch during the fall of 2016. It was one of those family-run farms with a corn maze and hay rides, the kind of place that's cozy during the day, but unsettling at night. On Halloween night, the owners let employees take one last walk through the maze after closing, just for fun. Rachel decided to go in alone. The maze was completely empty, and the only light came from the moon and a few flickering lanterns. She was halfway through when she heard someone whisper her name. "Rachel." She froze. It wasn't her imagination. It came from somewhere ahead. She laughed nervously, calling out for her coworkers, but no one answered. She walked faster, heart pounding. Every few steps, she heard crunching behind her. Slow, deliberate footsteps. When she finally reached the exit, she looked back. A tall figure stood between the rows wearing a burlap mask. He didn't move an inch, just standing there, one hand holding a flashlight pointed at the ground. Rachel ran to her car and drove home shaking. The next morning, police found footprints all through the maze, large ones, and cigarette butts near the back fence. Later that week, she read in the paper that a man had escaped from a nearby psychiatric facility on Halloween night. He was found 3 days later, hiding in the cornfield behind the patch. After searching his pockets, all they found was a pocket knife and a crumbled up photo of Rachel. Halloween 2014. A couple named Ben and Ashley lived in a small suburban neighborhood that went all out for trick-or-treating. By 10 p.m., the night had quieted down, except for one last knock at the door. Ben opened it to find a boy wearing a scarecrow mask. The child stood silently, holding out a small orange bucket. Ben smiled, dropped in a handful of candy, and said, "You're the last one tonight, buddy." The boy tilted his head and whispered, "Thank you," then turned and walked away down the street. The next morning, Ashley noticed muddy footprints on their porch. They led up to the door, but there were no prints leading away. When Ben mentioned it to a neighbor, the man's face went pale. He said a boy matching that description had died years earlier. hit by a car on Halloween night just a few houses down. Every year since, people said they'd seen a child in a scarecrow mask walking the street, always knocking on one door before disappearing. For Ashley and Ben, this was the last night they handed out candy on Halloween. It happened in 2019 in a small Massachusetts town. 3 trick-or-treaters, 2 boys and a girl, were seen walking down Hollow Creek Drive around 8:45 p.m. Security cameras caught them passing house after house, laughing and running ahead. Then they reached the end of the street, a boarded-up home that had been abandoned for years. Security footage shows them walking up the porch steps. They must not have realized the home was abandoned. One knocks on the door, then the video glitches for a few seconds. When the picture clears, the porch is empty. Their bags of candy were later found scattered on the lawn. Police searched the property. No footprints, no forced entry, and the door was nailed shut from the inside. A local historian pointed out something chilling. 25 years earlier, 3 kids had vanished from that same street on Halloween night. They were last seen trick-or-treating at that exact address. To this day, that house remains empty. The chilling part is, every Halloween since, dozens of pieces of candy will be found strewn across the front yard, and they can never capture anyone or anything, leaving it there. These were 5 true Halloween horror stories, from strange guests and hidden faces to things that vanished without explanation. These stories remind us that Halloween isn't just about fun and costumes. It's the one night of the year when the line between the living and the dead seems to disappear. If you enjoyed tonight's stories, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another terrifying story from Legendary Scary. And remember, sometimes the scariest part of Halloween isn't the costumes. It's what hides behind them.